The Overwatch 2 tanks. I mean, look at all these. In this video, we go over 3 skills for every single tank in Overwatch 2 to help you improve. Whether you're brand new to the game or you've been playing for years, I guarantee you something in this video you wouldn't have known. Let's go ahead and jump right into it and get better at tanking. Let's go ahead and start with D.va. My first tip for D.va is about the movement, in particular, these boosters right here. Not only is this an extremely versatile ability, you can actually use this for damage and booping as well. You can go in with a melee boost combo, and a lot of times if they're squishy, by the time you're finished, they're already gone. Watch this. The next tip I want to give is with the defense matrix. The defense matrix is one of the best damage mitigation tools in the entire game. One reason why I really like it is because you can use it as needed. It's really just you right click, and after you're done using it, you have a 1-second delay before you can use it again. That is fantastic. So there's really 2 ways mainly of using this thing. You can use the whole thing in one go for like a bastion turret or maybe a big ultimate like a roadhog ult, or you can use it really intermittently in the middle of a fight. So as they shoot a little, you block, then you shoot. You can use your missiles. Pretty simple, just demonstrating the 2 basic ways it'll work. For the third tip, I'm going to talk about her ultimate. Once again, there's 2 basic ways to use this thing. Obviously, if you're about to die, go ahead and use it to get your mech back. If you're at 1 shot, you just get a free extra life. But the second way is the one I'm really going to focus on here. You want to make sure you're timing your jets so it's exploding in the air at the optimal level. It's usually a lot better if it's slightly above the ground versus right on the ground. Take a look at this. I'm not the best at Doomfist, but I have a current top 500 player on the NA ladder that plays Doomfist all the time. Here's some tips from him. Please take it away, Convict.
So for the first tip for Doom is you need to utilize your punch movement. When you just punch by itself, this is how far you go, but when you press space after a punch, you go further. And you can also use this to go diagonally. When you punch, you look to the left or right, and you press space, it will go in that direction, just like that. My second tip is disengagements. When you engage, you should only really use one of your abilities. So when you slam in, make sure you have your punch at least to punch back out. If you use both your slam, your punch, you can always just block, and right when you get charged, just punch away. Lastly, for the third tip for your ultimate is whether you either exhaust all of your cooldowns and you need a way to get out, think of your ultimate as just another cooldown. You either disengage with it, or when you re-engage, you use your ultimate.
Now on to Junker Queen. The thing about Junker Queen is all of the abilities really work together. It's not one of those where you use one, let it come back, use a different one. Watch this. You throw a knife, you pull them towards you, you slice them. The siphon is extremely important. You always want to play for your siphon. The melee is a siphon. The axe is a siphon. Your ultimate is a siphon. All of it is really good for getting your own health back without you even needing to be healed by a support. The shout is an amazing tool, not for just yourself when you get low to give yourself over 200 extra HP, but your teammates as well. If you see they're in trouble, they need to get out of a situation, you can actually shout to give your teammates more health if they're in trouble and about to die. Really useful tool, especially if your support doesn't see them right away. So the tip with that is to use it for yourself and others, much like Zarya's bubble. It's really good, but only when you're in a pickle and need it. Don't just use it all the time. My third tip here is for the ultimate Rampage. It's a fantastic ultimate, but it puts you in a very vulnerable spot. So my tip is make sure you bait out any abilities that might make it really tough for you after you use it. Like a Ana Sleep, a Kiriko Suzu, which basically makes the whole thing worthless. I mean, there's lots of options here. You don't want to make yourself screwed by using your own ultimate. Now on to Orisa. On Orisa, you're probably using your abilities way too often. I know a lot of people like to use their abilities to make sure they mitigate as much damage as possible, but a big mistake a lot of metal rank players are using is they're hitting their fortify, they're hitting their spin, sometimes at the same time, and they're really just making it so as soon as those abilities are over, easy deletion. So my main advice on Orisa is to slow down your abilities and never use them at the same time unless you just really got to get out of somewhere. You'd be surprised at how many gold players use their javelin spin and fortify at the same time. Orisa is a tank that if I see a player use their cooldowns, I call that out to my team, and it's the easiest kill of our lives if they mess that up. The next tip is for the fortify ability itself. A lot of people don't realize all the properties that it actually has. For one, you cannot be headshot at all. 2, it mitigates all incoming damage from every single source. In 3, you cannot be moved. Okay, a lot of people don't use all 3 of these things, especially that last one. I mean, watch here. If somebody gets trapped in a room, it doesn't work for this exact simulation. For some reason, the bot still moves me, but they can't go anywhere. Watch this. If this was a real person, I hit fortify, they would not be able to move me. They'd be stuck in this room right here with my team to capitalize. So make sure you're using your fortify for all of its abilities, not just the one. My third and final Orisa tip is for the ultimate. This ultimate actually pulls people in, whether you're above them, below them, or even if they're running away. A lot of people try to get in the perfect spot to use the ultimate. In reality, if they're even around you at all, it pulls them right to you. Check this out. Now on to one of my personal favorites, Ramattra. The best thing about Ramattra is getting those abilities to always cycle with each other. I love the fact that you can change forms, and by the time you're done changing your form, you have your abilities back in the other form. So for instance, this is an enemy team, you put a shield here, you use your staff form for quite a bit, and then the moment that shield's about to go down, you pop your fist form. Walk up, make some space, hold the guard, do what you have to do. The moment your fist form is gone, you have your shield again. Look down, put your shield. You just keep on cycling this. By the time your shield is gone, you have your fist form again. It's almost within 2 to 3 seconds every single time. You're never going to be without having your other abilities. You just got to get good at timing them. So very good for making space if you cycle them and walk while you do it. My next tip for Ramattra is all about the fist form and blocking. First of all, the fist form is great for getting that extra health when you really need it, much like Junker Queen's shout. And the moment you go into there, you can block, which mitigates almost all damage. If you're being healed while you're blocking, you're basically invincible. What a lot of players aren't doing is when they're in their fist form, they're not blocking and punching at the same time. You got to kind of switch back and forth between them all. So that way you're combining blocking and punching, and that way you're doing the most for your team and for yourself, just like this. The third and final tip for Ram is for the Annihilation Ultimate. A lot of people are using this and they're making kills their first priority. In reality, if you pop this in the middle of a team and you just hold guard, instead it can really be used as a tool to get more health and change the course of an ongoing fight. Make sure you don't forget to hold guard a lot of the time in your Annihilation. It's actually a good play. I'm not the best at Reinhardt, but I have a current top 500 player on the NA ladder here to give you some amazing tips on Reinhardt. Please take it away, Cries.
For the first tip on Reinhardt, you could actually extend your swing. So if your hammer's going left, you look right, and if your hammer's going right, you look left. So like this is my, and like I hit him.
Well, that's interesting.
And then hit him.
Yeah. So you look the opposite direction of the animation. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes it a little further swing.
And the second tip for Ryan is with the shield. If Tracer pulse bombs your shield on any side, you could put your shield in the wall. It won't do any damage at all. So
you just
like
put
this.
like the physical part of it into the wall.
Yeah.
So she puts it and you put it inside the wall. No damage gets done.
This. No damage.
Interesting.
Even with Bastion's grenade.
Really?
Cassidy's grenade.
Anything that sticks. Okay. Really interesting.
Basically, yeah.
Nice.
For my third tip for Ryan, imagine there's 3 people here. And you shatter them. Don't charge first, because if you miss, you boot them all away from your team. Just imagine he didn't die there, but instead you will fire strike the squishies, and you can also crouch fire strike and hit multiple people.
Okay, so you want to fire strike and go swinging opposed to immediately charging.
Yeah, fire strike swing or double fire strike squishies and they'll die.
Gotcha.
But you have to do it on one person.
Makes sense. You can just solidify, just one dude goes down. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Now on to Roadhog. Roadhog is a lot weaker than he used to be, but he can still be used in the right situations. My first tip for Roadhog is to utilize your vape. Yeah, I said vape in the right times. Not only does your vape heal you a lot, but it actually reduces damage too. So if you hit the vape as you're getting shot, you actually take reduced incoming damage. A lot of people think it just heals you. That's not the case. A well-timed vape can take a lot of damage just out of the equation as a whole. My next tip is for the hook. Now, they've recently changed the hook so you can't quite one-shot anymore unless you know the right combo. You can still do it. You just got to know how. The combo is hook them, jump towards them while you hook, and then shoot them in the head and then melee. You can also do it with this combo. Secondary fire shoot, hook them, jump towards them while the hook, melee them, and that's all she wrote. I'll go ahead and show you that combo real quick too. The next Fortnite tip I have for Roadhog is with the ultimate. The ultimate can be used in a lot of different ways. The primary way you probably should be using it is just to make space. You don't really need to go after any kills. If you pop it in the middle of a big crowd, it's easily the best space maker in the entire Overwatch game. I mean, they literally have to move. Whether you need someone to not touch a point or you're walking your way in somewhere, this is a fantastic tool. Now on to Sigma. My first tip for Sigma is to make sure you're using your primary fire with the rock combo. A lot of people are just using the rock by itself, and you need to make sure you're holding the primary fire while the rock animation is happening. If you do, they have almost no health at all if they're squishy. And if they're already hurt, it's immediate deletion. You can also make it a one-shot combo if you push your melee at the end of the animation. The next tip for Sigma is all about the shield. A lot of people are just using this shield to block damage, but you can actually block the enemy's healing as well. In fact, that's one of the best things you can use for it. What you want to do is you want to make sure you actually put the shield past the target that's doing damage to you. That way, your team can kill them without them getting any sort of healing. Remember, the enemy team cannot heal through shields, so that's a really good technique. The next Sigma tip I want to give is for the ultimate. Not only can you put your shield out before you ultimate to try to have a little bit of protection, but you can actually use your ultimate and just sit behind a wall. A lot of people don't utilize this trick. Now onto another one of my favorite tanks, Winston. My first tip with Winston is you really don't want to play him all the time. It's only with certain metas, certain people on your team that you really want to run this thing. That being said, I love running him whenever it's actually smart to do so. With Winston, a lot of people are not comboing the jump correctly. Not only do you call out what you're about to jump after, but when you jump, you want to make sure you have your secondary fire charging. You want to make sure you zap them in the air. You got to hit your melee before you land, which cancels the melee animation, and then you immediately start shocking them and then drop a bubble accordingly. A lot of people don't do that full combo. They're just doing one or maybe two of those things. If you do all of them, it almost completely kills the enemy by the time you're landing on them. My next Winston tip is for the primal rage, the ultimate. A lot of people are using this when they're at full health. You can actually lose almost all of your health, make them all baited towards you, and then pop it to get a major health increase. It's a lot more effective, and you can think of it as an extension of your own health bar. Just make sure you don't wait too long. Also, while you're in primal rage, try to learn how to juggle your target. Usually you can single out one person that you want to make sure goes down and make it so they cannot get away from you. It takes some practice, but make sure you're good at juggling your Winston primal. I'm not the best with ball, but here's a person who's top 500 tank on the leaderboard once again cries.
First tip for ball I have is only pick him with dive characters such as Genji, Tracer, Sombra, and maybe Sojourn and Echo.
Okay, so not always an optimal pick, especially don't auto lock it right away.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
For my second tip on ball, when you're trying to use your shield, keep an eye on the number. The higher it is, the more shields you get. So
there's only two right there. Three. Okay. You have a lot of people around you, the more you'll get.
Yeah, I'll get a bunch.
Makes sense. Okay, so don't just activate the shield unless you have a lot of people around you for make it the most worth.
For my third tip on ball, when you have ultimate, make sure you at least have power drive so you can combo your ultimate. So
okay, so don't just go in having your ultimate and no abilities. You want to make sure they can hit the actual bombs.
Yeah, because it gives you more times for your bombs to set up, and they're like in the air, kind of
still suspended and not able to go anywhere. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's finish it off with Zarya. The first tip I have on Zarya is really try to make your bubble as worth as possible, not only for feeding energy but for protecting others. What I mean by that is try not to pop it right away, not before you're getting shot, but as you or your teammates getting shot. You start getting lit up, you want to bubble yourself after you start getting shot. That way you have the potential most energy gain as possible. You have no idea how many people pop these way too early. Same with your teammates. The name of the game here is energy. Without energy, without her bubbles, she's really not that good of a tank. So make sure you make her strong. Another tip I have for Zarya is play according to your power level. There's a lot of people who get really charged and then don't act accordingly. If you're really charged, you're better than a DPS. You can take down just about anything. If you're not very charged, you use both your bubbles, play very passive. Make sure you wait for that charge in order to take the actual tank fight, because you're not much of a tank until you get it. But you also have to bait a lot of energy. If you're not doing that, you're never gonna get that charge. Just make sure once you get it, you're an unstoppable machine. You just go. Because remember, you don't want to lose it either. The final tip of Zarya is for the ultimate. This is one of the best ultimates in the game, if you can get the right people in it and you time it correctly as well. The thing about this ultimate is the higher you go up in rank, the less perfect of a grab you're really gonna be able to get. So my biggest tip is try not to get the entire team in it. Try to get one, maybe 2 or 3 essential people, and that's it. You're never gonna have the perfect grab. You're just gonna be holding on to it until Overwatch 3. A lot of times getting one person in it, as long as they're an essential person, is perfectly fine. You just gotta use it and get another one. Just talk to your team, see what they're wanting to do. If you wanna watch me while I'm live, I go live on TikTok and Twitch just about every single evening. Link is in the description. Check out one of these videos now. I work super hard on my YouTube to make high quality videos for you to enjoy. See you soon.